basic infrastructure. I mean, roads, access to good roads, the railway system, transportation, potable water, hospitality, and of course, healthcare, tourism. I mean, all of those basic infrastructure amenities is missing in the African project. And it's important for us, to be able to address the infrastructure gap and the deficits that we have today in Africa. I think that on the infrastructure side of things, individual member countries of the African Union have a role to play. The leadership, the political leadership must demonstrate goodwill, to begin to improve the infrastructure amenities within their individual member country. And as a cluster, we can now begin to put together an Africa intervention, where we can have infrastructure commitment to freeing the barriers of trade within the African region. The AfTA project was designed to integrate the continent and make it a single trade market where African countries can break the barriers of trade. And of course, tariffs were proposed to be at 90%, which just makes it easy for goods and services to interchange between the African continent. And what we have seen is the slow implementation and the sign-up. And that is a real barrier and a challenge to integrating the African market. And I think that if we must emancipate the continent and unleash the potential that Africa has, we must be able to quickly come together to review the terms and the conditions around the AfTA agreement, and of course encourage member countries to sign up and put their signatories to it, and beyond the signatories to begin to execute and implement all the important details in the AfTA trade agreement. And I think it's a unique opportunity for Africa truly to demonstrate that it is ready, because the AfTA agreement is the second largest agreement, after the World Trade, agreement, which was signed by the World Trade Organization. And of course, Africa being the second largest continent in the world, with over 1.2 billion population, also gives us a unique opportunity, to show that we are ready, to participate in global trade, and of course, to improve the amount of export activities. So we are no longer a net importer, but a net exporter. And I think that the conversations that we're having today is part of a series of steps we are taking to ensure that the message goes out there to our leaders to pay attention to this one Africa integrated market, where free trade becomes a modus operandi for the African Union members. So there are a couple of things, that have constituted barriers to trade. Of course, one of the biggest barriers to trade is, the tax burden. Okay, that there are certain goods and services within the African continent that have tax restrictions and all that, and then of course it makes it almost impossible for you to export goods and services within the continent. Travel barriers are also there. You require visa to go to certain countries within the continent, the West or the East or the North African region. They have huge trade barriers, in terms of travel barriers. Immigration challenges are also part of the bottlenecks that we have seen. Things around leadership, political instability are also barriers and bottlenecks. And of course, access to finance. Okay, access to finance has become a huge burden to barriers to trade in terms of the African continent. And these, in addition to other intra and inter-country bottlenecks, have become huge barriers, to trade within the continent. And that is where the whole concept of the AfTA trade agreement is important, to help us eliminate some of those barriers and to free the market so that goods and services can go into countries within the African continent. And like I always say, what is the importance of having the ability and the raw material to produce goods and services that we can consume within our market, and we are not exploring it? Made in Africa for Africa is one thing that I have advocated for, that we should not just talk about the great potential of the continent, but we should go beyond the realm of talking to the realm of execution and of course implementation by ensuring that our industries, whether it is the textile industry, whether it is the oil and gas industry, power distribution, whether it is agriculture, whether it is entertainment and the creative arts, we must be able to explore the fullest potential within the region. And of course, not just at the exploration level, but being able to use the products that come out of Africa. And that way, we become a net exporter and we're able to generate the required foreign exchange to boost our GDP in Africa. And I think it's a huge opportunity for us to think through it again and of course, to get our hands to execution.